What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning back into another video. First of all, I apologize for the lack of videos recently. This off season, this fall with work has been absolutely crazy. I rent and sell construction equipment, and we have a chip manufacturing facility expansion happening, plus Meta is coming in and building a data center. So I have a lot of equipment at these two jobs, and yeah, work has just been super crazy recently. Plus we haven't been doing much to the Nova or any of the cars up until this point. So not a lot has been going on around here, to be honest. Jade and I have been up to a lot of wedding planning, which I'm super excited for. So we chose Memorial Weekend of 2025. We're getting married, so a lot of planning has been going on around that. And we have escaped out to the hills quite a few times this fall as well. So nice to get away from everybody, get up in the hills, and just kind of zone out there. So that's been really fun. But now we're getting to the point where some work on the cars are needing to be done before the 2025 season. So I'm excited to bring you guys along for that. Before we get into the plans of what we're doing to the Nova and the other cars this off season, I wanted to take a minute to thank everybody who helped me out during the 2024 season. If you've been following along the videos, you know that we had some highs, we definitely had some lows, and we accomplished a lot of goals that I had set for myself for the year. And yeah, it was one for the memory book. Had a lot of fun along the way. Recommend you guys go check out those videos if you haven't seen them throughout the season. But we'll do a little recap here as well, because there's definitely a few things that stand out to me from this 2024 season. If you guys have followed along for the last little while, you would know that before this 2024 race season, we switched from gasoline to E85 in the Nova. And that made more of a difference than I ever thought it would. In a good way, though. It was very consistent and ultimately, I think, easier to learn than racing with gasoline with a supercharged application. But basically started with a whole new car for the 2024 season and went out, and I think at like the first or second test and tune of the year, it went its personal best since I've owned the car, and the fastest that I've ever been in a race car up until this point. I think it was like a 10:21. It was a 10:18 at 129 miles an hour. So that was pretty cool to do that right off of the bat as the season started. The first few races of the season went okay. I went some rounds, which was nice, but I didn't put a lot of pressure on myself to do good. I really just wanted to collect some data and get some seat time now running 85 fuel. So it was nice to go some rounds, but it really didn't take long until I had probably the craziest weekend of my life. Early May, I think it was the second or the third round of the club series that we run. I think it was the second. And I found myself on a final round. The track was really cold. It was still early May, so at night when the sun goes down, it still cools off quite a bit here in Idaho, and the track temperature got cold. My opponent, I think he had me on the tree, but he spun. He's a small tire car, and that gave me a big enough gap to chop the throttle at the end for the win. So I found myself in the winner's circle at like 11 p.m. on a Friday night, and I had plans the next morning to propose to Jade. And so I had planned this morning photo shoot, a fake photo shoot really, a sunrise photo shoot because the weather was supposed to be really nice. So we had to get back up at 4 a.m. To head to our local lake here, Lucky Peak. And I popped the question to Jade the next morning. Like, I think I got home around 12:30, 1 a.m. We were back up at 4, so it was only a few hours later. Popped the question to Jade. She said yes, which was awesome. So yeah, that was probably the craziest few hours of my life, from the final round, standing in that winner's circle, to knowing what was coming the next day. So that was pretty awesome. We celebrated by going to breakfast, and I came home and I crashed because I was so tired. I felt like the adrenaline finally wore off and we were out. So a big goal that I had for myself for 2024 was to win my first pro race. I've won the club races before, and I've won, even though there are a lot of the same people in the class, I've won the secondary classes at a race before, like oldies or nostalgia, where it's a lot of the same cars as pro, but I just have had this pro curse on me, I called it. But my goal was to win my first pro race, and it was the following weekend, or the following race after proposing to Jade and standing in the winner's circle, that I found myself in the final round again in pro, and I was able to park it in the winner's circle for my first ever race, my first ever win in a pro class. And so, yeah, those first, that May was awesome. I will say that. Kind of speechless still about how those couple of weekends went, man. It was one that I'll never forget. Obviously, standing in the winner's circle is fun anytime, but when you pair it with getting engaged and the other things that were going on, man, it was just it was awesome. So it was at this point where things started looking really good. It wasn't in my original goals for the summer, but points started looking really good for me to make the team for the Summit Racing, the ET Finals at Pacific Raceways in Seattle. So I set out on a new goal. I'm like, okay, I'm up there in points. I think I can make the team. Let's shoot for it. So we go out to the next race, and as like that, man, my summer looked like it was gonna flip upside down. I had a valve train failure, and a piece of the rocker stud that holds the rocker arm in the head broke, and it nicked part of the cam. So middle of the summer, middle of the points chase, I had to pull the engine out of the Nova and replace the cam. So while I'm in the process of pulling the engine and replacing the cam in the Nova, I'm blessed that my dad has his race car and that he was nice enough to let me race it for a couple of races to continue in the points. So I drove down to Nevada, got the Camaro. On my way back here, my truck, my tow truck, blows a transmission line. Luckily, I make it back to the house, but there's a mess all over the ground, all over the truck, all over the trailer. So I have to get that towed to get repaired. So it was just a wild few weeks. And so I raced my dad's Camaro for the event or two that I needed it for, got my Nova put back together. And luckily the Nova didn't skip a beat. I just put the same exact cam that I had in it back in there so I could keep all my data that I have thus far, and yeah, it didn't skip a beat. We're right back out and started going rounds on the Nova again, so that was nice. Fast forward to Labor Day, I find myself driving up to Seattle to Pacific Raceways. I found myself landing on the Firebird team for the Division 6 ET Finals, so that was a huge goal of mine met once I kind of saw that it was possible with the points. I made it up there, and I did not do as well as I wanted to, but Firebird clean house, man. We brought home the track championship by like 10 rounds won or something like that in the team race. And my good buddy Zach Meziere was on a tear that weekend, man. It was so much fun to be a part of. He not only, it was kind of funny, he not only beat his father-in-law in the final round for the team race for Firebird to take home the win, but he also swept the Race of Champions the following day, which was awesome to be a part of, to see, to watch, and he ended up carrying that momentum down to Vegas for the national championship and clean house down there as well, man. So congrats, Zach. It was awesome to watch. Lucky to call you one of my best buddies, and he had a hell of a season. So that was awesome to be a part of, and I will absolutely do my best to be a part of Team Firebird in the coming ET Finals in the future. That was just a few of my favorite highlights from the 2024 season, but I do have to thank all of the companies that helped me out this year. FuelTech USA coming on board was a big one. I'm really blessed for them to partner up with me and send me a FuelTech FT450 with their Sportsman wiring harness. It's been an absolute game changer to be able to data log things like fuel pressure, oil pressure, transmission temperature, boost pressure, drive shaft speed, all of the things that us, bracket racing nerds like to look at after each round to really dial in the car. That was an absolute game changer for me. Not only does it look badass in the car, it helps out a ton. And there's a lot more things that you can do with the FuelTech than I'm doing. So I really recommend you check them out. Even if you're a bracket racer, I think it's the best all-in-one data logger screen. And even you can even run your dial boards and delay box and all that kind of stuff from one unit. So it's the best plug and play unit in my opinion. So definitely check them out. But I couldn't have done it with all the other companies as well. Stage 8 locking fasteners has been a big part of it. Drag Race Solutions, Ramcon Construction, Meziere Enterprises, my dad's company, Barbwire Enterprises. Man, without the love and support from all those friends and companies, this wouldn't be possible. And thank all of you guys too for watching these videos and help growing the YouTube channel and my Instagram and all that kind of stuff too. It's been fun, and I can't wait to carry that into 2025. Now let's get into the good stuff. We have quite a bit planned for the Nova for this off season. First and foremost, we have to get the lean out of the car when I launch, man. It's got that G-body lean. It goes crazy, and my 60 foots have been anything but consistent this year. So I've ordered an anti-roll bar kit from Chassis Works. So that is at my dad's shop along with the car. My car is already down in Nevada, and we are just about to install that. I think that's going to be the biggest game changer mechanically with the car. I'll say that for now. That's just really what I struggled with all year was my 60 foots, especially in Seattle with the added power and with the elevation down there and the good air. One pass it would hook up just fine, and it would have a 60 foot that I would expect, and then the next pass it would chatter the tires and it would be slower, and just not ideal for bracket racing. So we're going to get that anti-roll bar kit installed, and then we're also going to work on some of the front suspension. I need to replace the springs in the front end. So I have new springs, Moroso trick springs that are in. And then at the same time, we're just going to go ahead and do the upper and lower control arms. My dad already gave me those for my birthday that's coming up. So we'll get new upper and lower control arms in, which will be a little bit lighter. Not too much of a performance gain there, to be honest with you, but they definitely look better. So we'll get those installed. And then once that's done, then it's just a few little odds and ends. Like I'm going to take the axles out, the center section out, replace the center section gasket. So it's been leaking for a little while. So just little odds and ends like that. But I will say I do have something kind of cool in the works that's more cosmetic with the car. I'm not going to go much past that because I don't know if it's going to happen at this point, but it's something that I've been working on and I'm super excited for if it does happen. But I'll leave that for another video. And before I head out of here, there is something I want to show you. If you follow any of our social media, you've seen these by now, but I've never showed them in a YouTube video. Something a little bit different that I'm trying is I had these button heads made for Beyondo's Terminator and Terminator Plus trans brake buttons. I'll put a couple of pictures of what they look like in the car on the screen here, but I just thought it'd be a cool idea to make a direct replacement. It's the exact same size, exact same weight. Just thought I would anodize them different colors. I started with red, raw, and blue. Nothing super fancy with them. They're just to change up the look of the inside of your car a little bit. So those are available on the website or right here with YouTube Shopping. So if you want to grab a little stocking stuffer for somebody, it's just a direct replacement. You can use the same screw, or I'll send it with a black screw as well. Just to switch up the look of your car a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video off here, guys. Again, I'm sorry for the lack of content recently, but now we're getting into some things that are worth videoing. As always, I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following along, and we'll get through this off season, get through some of these upgrades, and we'll be back to racing before we know it. So appreciate it. Thank you again, and we'll catch you in the next video.